So I don't know if you want to call it instinct or intuition, but a couple of minutes before I went on today, I went back and checked on my presentation, I don't know why, and discovered that other than this title slide, the rest of my deck was missing. So it's a great way to see if your heart is actually working before you go up. But I have been at 3M now for just about a year, and 3M has a myriad, thousands of very, very complicated products. So in my quest to try to understand just a few of those, to start to get my arms around it, I discovered this, which is called VAS, Visual Attention Service, or VAS. And I learned that it's a really cool capability that had really only been shared up until now with mostly the design community, never really with the marketing research community. So even though my 20-some years of experience in our industry has always been on the buying side of research, I don't see myself on the selling side, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to come and share this with all of you today. So as we all know, we are bombarded with messages, different numbers, 3,000, 8,000, 10,000, trying to get our attention, trying to make an emotional connection. But even with the best of intentions, most of those messages go unnoticed. However, as we all know, you need to be seen to be remembered. That's the challenge that we all face. And even our own eyes and our brain don't necessarily work in our favor. They actually play tricks on you at times, and you've seen many optical illusions. I'm going to share two pictures, one after another, 4 or 5 times. And I'd like you to try to see if you can identify the difference between the two. Did anybody notice? A couple of people have their hands raised, not very many. It's a pretty significant difference, and that is that in one of the two, the plane is missing an engine. So now that your brain knows that the engine is missing in one picture and not in the other, try to unsee it. It's impossible to ignore once your brain knows it's there. So even with our own brain and eyes at times working against us, how can we break through? 3M's Visual Attention Service is a mobile and online image scanning tool that predicts what will be seen in the first 3 to 5 seconds. It would have predicted by the push of a button on the app that engine in that picture was designed in such a way that it was likely to go unnoticed. What if that dark spot was the Buy Now button on your website? You know it's there, your designers know it's there, everybody on the project team knows it's there, because once you know it's there, you can't unsee it. So why does 3M have a product like this? Why did I uncover this in the suite of products at 3M? Well, for over 50 years now, 3M has been researching vision. We have an entire team of neuroscientists who, starting back in the 60s, we were developing reflective tape and studying traffic safety and roadside construction worker safety. And since then, we've had many, many additional products whereas vision is a really important part of that product offering. Through studying that over the past several decades, we know that most stimuli goes unnoticed. Our brain instantly decides what will gain attention. There are specific properties that you can use to predict what will be seen, and of those, only a few are actually in the recorded part of memory. How does it work? We have proprietary algorithms that process these 5 visual cues: color, shape, edges, contrast, and human faces. People have asked, what about cartoon characters, and what about pets? If your cartoon character or your pet happens to resemble human faces, they will get noticed. Otherwise, they won't. All of those characteristics I just mentioned are bottom-up influencers. They're from System 1, as we were talking about earlier today. It's consistent across gender, adult ages, we have not tested with children, and across culture. And we have 92% confirmed accuracy. So our accuracy tests are against the image databases from MIT and Cambridge University, where their databases consist of thousands of images and the eye tracking results of those images. We've also created a separate 3M database that have more marketing materials than the academic databases have. And we have 92% confirmed accuracy. It evaluates all type of content, from still images, as I've shown here, signs, shelf set, packaging. It also evaluates video. It processes 30 images per second and analyzes them. What I love about this particular spot here is that it gives you the perception of, you can see what it looks like to actually walk down an aisle. Typically, shelf set testing that I've done, respondents are placed in front of a shelf set. But rarely do I shop the shelf like this. You're almost always walking down the aisle, viewing it from a different angle. It's convenient and mobile. You can go on to 3m.com/VAS. There are apps on both iPhone and Android systems. And there's a plugin for Photoshop. So this is the design piece. So it can be part of your design software so that you are designing with this vision science from the get-go. It's easy. You download the app. You upload your image. You tell it what image type it is. Is it a pack? Is it a shelf set? Is it an end aisle display? Is it a website? In this case, you would select outdoor long distance display, or long distance view. And the reason you select that image type is because the algorithms differ. There are some cultural biases that get introduced depending on the kinds of images you're looking at. For example, on a website, we're predisposed to start in the top left. So that gets a heavier weighting if you tell it it's a website. So you choose the image type, you click Analyze Image, and in a couple of seconds, you have the heat map that tells you where the eyes are looking, and notice the Phantom of the Opera face. Stands out here. Take specific notice, I'm going to point it out in a second, the top right, the big dark area under the words heat map. So you get a heat map, you get a region map. So each of those significant areas of eye fixation, it'll tell you the percentage likelihood of each of those areas that they'll get noticed, and it also tells you visual sequencing. The large black ad for Inception is 5 or 10 times larger than any other real estate in this picture. But as you can see, they weren't actually recognized very easily at all. And I would imagine they probably spent quite a bit more than most of those other ads. Just last week I was at a conference, and a small conference, and the woman from Taco Bell was sharing their story on their journey to Locos Tacos. And so the next day when I was showing VAS, it was a much smaller group, so I just pulled it up live, downloaded this print ad of theirs, and ran it. And she was interested to see, new stands out, which is great. There's some fixation on the tomatoes in the food, which is when you're selling food, it's great to have that taste attribute coming out. And there's a lot of focus on the iconic Doritos image. The region map gives the same kind of information, and then the visual sequencing. And then the Taco Bell representative said, as they've just launched Cool Ranch, Locos Tacos, they've been trying to get and struggling with getting their brand, Locos Tacos, to stand out in much of the work that they're doing. So in this case, it helped her understand some of the learning that she already had. What mistakes can it help you avoid? Logo takeover. This is a 3M website where it's easy to sometimes become enamored with your own branding. In this case, the branding across the top gets all of the attention, and the primary content around of the galaxy goes unnoticed, and it's not anywhere in the visual sequencing. This website is being rewritten, redesigned. It can help with face overload. This is an example of an Old Navy ad where all of the fixation is on the faces. Now that might have been the creative challenge to get this target to be noticed for Old Navy. But if there was any challenge for a call to action and to notice the sails on the bottom, those are going highly unnoticed. Finally, an unexpected hotspot. I don't think that this particular shoe website was designed to draw such significant attention to the inside of one shoe. So when can you use VAS? I like to think of it as spell check for images. You can optimize your designs from the very get-go with indisputable vision science predictors. Always be putting your best foot forward on your creative. And as I said earlier, it can be embedded into your design software, either into Photoshop, or it can be customized if you have custom design software as well. You can think of it as a time when you're looking for excellence versus perfection. We've talked about this quite a bit. I've heard a few mentioned over the last couple of days. We are in a perpetual beta prototyping mode. Most of us don't have version 1.0 of anything, and we're okay with it. I don't really feel cheated now that I have the iPhone 5. I didn't feel bad when I had the iPhone 4, but you upgrade to the 5. It's perpetual beta, which means people are putting products into the marketplace that are excellent instead of perfect. For things you wouldn't otherwise research, maybe for a promotional pack, you're going to do some concept or some other stimulus testing to diagnose performance, to help you understand what you've seen in the marketplace, such as the Taco Bell example. And finally, for challenged budgets, it simply spells relief. So the benefits: it's fast, it's easy, it's mobile, it's online, affordable, accurate, can save you time and money. It's VAS. Thank you.
So this is fascinating stuff, as I promised, right? Do we have a few questions for Dawn before she has to step down? We've got a little bit of time left over here. Back in the corner over there, I see.
Yeah, thanks. What's the pricing model around the usage of the service?
I'm sorry?
What's the pricing model? How is it a subscription or?
Yeah. There are two ways to engage. There's a buy the drink mode for single users and group account access. With group account access, the cost is less than $2,500 per year per person to have access for unlimited imaging. And right now you can download it from any of those places I mentioned, and you can try it on 5 images free.
Interesting. Anyone else?
Can we?
Do we have another mic? Here it comes.
Hi, excellent product. How much have you tested backwards compared to different types and complexities of software of eye tracking?
I'm sorry, there's an echo, I can't.
Comparing this with traditional eye tracking, different type of softwares and devices, how well it compares? Because we are working this backwards and it's not a real measurement.
Well,
is that a kind of correlation index or?
I mean, that was the 92% accuracy
Yes.
relative to other visuals that have had eye tracking against it, Tobii type eye tracking models against it. And the part of those models that are the instinct, the first 3 to 5 seconds, that's where we have the 92% accuracy.
Great, and that's on average. And which cases have you got the highest average, highest correlations, and which other cases have you got the lowest values?
I'm not.
Okay, 92% is an average.
Yep, right.
Okay, Which one are the base cases?
I don't actually know the
Okay.
details behind the testing. I'm sorry about that. But I can get any of that information to
Love
you
to.
around the specifics of the high ends versus the low ends. Yes, the
Because
range
we'd
of
love
that.
to, and which
Right.
cases it works best.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
And it's ongoing. I mean, right now, they've analyzed like 12 or 13,000 images.
Okay.
And they're constantly modifying it. I mean, it's constantly being just tweaked. But the 92% is also pretty consistent across the different types of those images, from website to pack, et cetera. But I don't know the ranges across those various types of imaging.
Awesome.
But I can
awesome.
get that for you easily.
Awesome.
Sorry.
So maybe one more. I think if the lady right in front of you had a question, or someone else. Yeah, right in front there.
Yes, Dawn, thank you, because the whole neuroscience industry should be on apps and online, and you guys are doing it, so that's wonderful. Can we get some more transparency around the validation, the verification, and the methodology that went into the whole process?
Yes. Again, I don't know every detail because it's been going on for probably a decade. But there are 2 academic databases of images, one from MIT and one from Cambridge University. Those databases consist of a number of images that aren't necessarily marketing type of imagery, and also the results of eye tracking of those images. That's all parts of the database. It's public use, so you can access it. Additionally, we have a 3rd database of images that 3M has sort of inserted that have more marketing style materials, websites and packaging and shelf sets, et cetera. And we have another division within 3M that has eye tracking, uses Tobii eye tracking for other parts of their product offering, a different area. So in the case of the 3M products, the 3M visuals, we run VAS, and we bring consumers through of all different ages, genders, and cultures to conduct Tobii-style eye tracking. And I don't know exactly the length of time that they are sitting in front of the image. I don't know all of the details of what that particular episode looks like. But so we compare the results of our database, VAS, as well as from the results of those consumers, real respondents coming in. Similarly, those MIT and Cambridge databases, we do the same thing. We run against the image and we compare our result to their result that's also stored in the database. Again, pulling out the results that are, sometimes there are results that aren't within that first 3 to 5 seconds, so pulling out only that apples to apples comparison